The death toll from an earthquake that struck Japan on New Year's Day has risen to 48, and scores others have been severely injured, as the officials continue the struggle to assess the full extent of the disaster. The rescue teams have fanned out to isolated locations, many of which remain cut off. Monday's earthquake prompted tsunami warnings, which have now been fully revoked. This marked the first major tsunami warning since the earthquake and the tsunami that struck northern Japan in March 2011. Over 155 aftershocks have hit the country since Monday's earthquake. The Met Office has warned that the aftershocks can continue for up to a week's time and have cautioned of landslides as well. The earthquake struck in the Noto Peninsula of Ishikawa Prefecture, collapsing buildings and causing fires. A large fire broke out in the central Japanese city of Wajima, where more than 100 houses have been burnt down. Over 51,000 people from the coastal regions of Ishikawa, Niigata and Toyama prefectures have been evacuated to higher grounds. Thousands have been evacuated from their homes, especially in the country's main island of Honshu. The earthquake also sliced through highways in central Japan, leaving them impassable. Following the quake, at least 33,000 households have been left without power. The country's Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, has said that the rescue efforts are the top priority at the moment. As for Japan's Defense Ministry, over 1,000 military personnel have been deployed to help in the rescue efforts. The Prime Minister has said that the rescuers are making their best efforts to keep further damage at bay.
We have made the utmost efforts to gather information, but it has been extremely difficult to reach the northern part of Noto Peninsula due to the blockage of roads.
Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida also said that until roads resume operations, they will use maritime routes to send supplies to the ones who are stuck. As the rescuers scramble to aid the situation, dozens of people are still suspected to be trapped under the rubble. The Japanese government has confirmed that no irregularities have been detected at the nuclear power plants in Japan following the quake or the tsunami warning. In the emergency press conference, they also said that the Shika plant in Ishikawa Prefecture, which is the closest facility to the quake's epicenter, is out of trouble.
Beginning with the Shika nuclear power plant, closest to the epicenter, there are currently no reported irregularities with nuclear power plants.
In response to the earthquake, the Indian Embassy in Japan has set up an emergency control room to assess the affected. The embassy has enlisted numbers and email IDs for the Indian nationals in distress. The tsunami warnings after the quake traveled through till Russia and South Korea, both the countries too. The South Korean Met administration is on a continuous lookout for possible sea level changes along the east coast. In Russia, a tsunami threat has been declared in various eastern cities that faces Japan's western coast, though the warnings in the two countries have not prompted any evacuations. And for more details on the Japan earthquake, our correspondent Patrick Fogar sends this report from Tokyo. Take a listen.
Well, I can tell you that the Meteorological Agency has now lifted the tsunami advisories for the east coast of Japan. So there is a sort of slight sign of an easing situation, although they've also warned that tides could still change. They are still on the lookout for large shocks, though, and the agency has also warned that there could be some big earthquakes that might happen possibly in the next 2 to 3 days. So So, as I say, authorities are on high alert, but the emphasis right now is really on search and rescue operations. The Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said earlier in an address that 1,000 defense troops have been sent into affected areas, and really it's a race against time, a battle against time, he said, those were his words, to try and save as many lives as possible. But they are having tremendous difficulty as well because of damage to roads, and really authorities are still trying to gather information and assess the exact extent of the damage. We've been waking up to lots of videos on social media in particular of roads that have been ripped up, and of course the city of Wajima has been badly impacted by yesterday's quake, with dozens of buildings collapsed and fires that have taken place there as well. But, you know, really, as I say, the authorities are just monitoring the situation and trying to prepare as best as they can for anything that might come.